Hello, Sanford. You are watching the Coyotes Football Network. I'm Jonathan West, and welcome to the Howler. And let's talk about that game last week for a second. How about it as your Sanford College Coyotes get ready to face the now number 10 ranked Nittany Lions, who fell after an upset victory by Nebraska last week. But what a victory for the Coyotes. Jason Ravato playing some of his best, if not his best, football. The offense clicking on pretty much every note, even though the run game really didn't do what I think this team wanted it to do. But what a big win against Michigan for a number of players, mainly the guys who were stepping in for the injured players, Grant Fink and Chad Cowlings. I mean, it's huge what Ravato was able to do, as well as with DJC starting to see now the reps that he's going to see. Hopefully he can stay healthy. We saw him get banged up early in last week's ball game, but just a fun game to watch. On the side of recruiting, though, folks, we do have some big news. But before we get to that, some of the names to keep an eye on. Phillip Jones, the defensive end, he's having a hard time wanting to come to Sanford. It's pretty much Arkansas or bust from what I've been hearing. Arkansas or bust at this point, staying close to home. But Sanford is still trying to talk him into moving away and coming up north. Another name to keep in mind is Sam Harvey, the outside linebacker. He will be coming in this week for the Nittany Lions ball game. So there's one guy who is going to get to see firsthand this team in the last week that Grant Fink will not play, according to at least the coaching staff. They believe he should be good to go for next week's ball game against Ohio State, and that is enormous for this team. But the big situation for recruiting this week was a number of big commitments. That was the big thing this week after the whole play at Michigan. Sanford comes back home and a number of big recruits decided to sign on the dotted line. To start the list is Chauncey Kraft, the corner out of Meadowbrook, Alabama. And we know we talked plenty of how good Keith Darby was in his freshman year. I think Chauncey Kraft has that same type of skill set. He's fast as all can be. He's got some solid man coverage. He's better as his own corner, but he can press you at the line, and that is huge. So expect Kraft to be a day one starter at Sanford. Another corner who committed was Jermaine Jordan out of West Pensacola, Florida. Now, he is not as dominant as Kraft is, but I could see Jermaine Jordan being a guy that Sanford looks to for the future, a red shirt year, and then maybe getting that nickel spot his sophomore year. His redshirt freshman year. I could see something to that effect for an idea for Jermaine Jordan, if that becomes a possibility in the minds of the head coach. But arguably the biggest name besides Kraft to commit this season, middle linebacker Brandon Graham out of Davis, California. 5'9", 225. Yes, I know what you're thinking. Very, very undersized to play middle linebacker, but you folks have not seen the tape on this kid. Absolutely amazing. He's got good speed, and he hits like a truck. At 5'9", he is throwing his shoulder into just about everybody. Think Jackson Payne in the middle of that linebacking core. That's very much what Brandon Graham is. He is an extreme talent, and it's really great to see him committing to Sanford. Finally, the last news we got was Eric Nash electing to go to Boise State. It was apparent he didn't want to commit to Sanford. They dropped out of that race. We have gotten news. He is headed to Boise. Big Ten Players of the Week, Gabe Gaines earns the defensive honors, and Anthony Cooper has a 4-touchdown outing just like Jason Ravato, and I feel Ravato got robbed of the Offensive Player of the Week this week. But hey, I digress. As for the conference standings, well, now there's 3 teams atop the Big Ten. Well, technically you could say 2, since there are only 2 undefeateds left. Illinois and Ohio State are the only two undefeated schools left in the Big Ten. When we talk about conference play, there are three undefeated, Sanford adding into that conversation. And really, I'd say this whole situation with the Big Ten comes down to next week for Sanford. If they can come out on top this week against Penn State, you're arguably saying that Sanford's playing for the East against Ohio State. That's pretty much, I'd say, how this year's turning out, just because of next week's ball game. As for the top 25, well, it is a four-team race at the top, but we talked last week about those schools that are lower ranked but still undefeated. Well, they're starting to pop up a bit. North Carolina has climbed up to 8 from 12 last week. I think UNC could be a definite threat to pretty much any of those top schools, including Sanford. The top 5 right now is not set in stone. Illinois also having a big jump from 18 to 11, and a number of other schools had pretty solid jumps as well, but those undefeated schools are the interesting ones. And if Illinois were to climb very high by the end of the year, you are arguing that maybe the Big Ten championship game is for one of the top spots in the nation on the top 25 list. It's thoroughly possible that that could be up for grabs. As the games this week in the Big Ten, Penn State and Sanford, I'd argue is the big game this week. A fun one to keep your eyes on, I'd say, is Illinois at Indiana. Indiana may be able to pull off the upset like Nebraska pulled off last week. And, of course, another game to keep in mind is the Wolverines trying to battle back after the loss to Sanford last week. They'll be headed out to Maryland to face a team they probably should beat. This week, though, Kirk Herbstreit has not forsaken the Coyotes. He has picked them to take out the Nittany Lions. Not a surprise there. One team coming off of a really big win, and another team coming off of a very, very gut-punching upset. As I stated earlier, Grant Fink should be returning next week for the Ohio State game. We'll have more news on that more than likely in next week's edition of the Howler. And really the big news next week is going to be who's going to start, especially if Ravato plays well this weekend. That's going to be the big what if going into the weekend. That's definite. You can see the schedule situation here, folks. After next week, it is a much easier schedule. Michigan State's a tough matchup, and I'd even say Iowa's a tough one. But really the last big game on the schedule is Ohio State. If Sanford can beat Penn State this weekend and Ohio State next weekend, I'd say they're really just sailing straight into the Big Ten championship game. Now I know that's thinking way too far ahead, but you look on paper, Sanford should have the Big Ten championship game in their sights if they can pick up 2 more big victories. Either way, we got to look now to really what is kind of the question of the whole season, I'd say, is this weekend's game with Jason Ravato. If he plays like he did last week, I don't know if there's anybody that can touch him. If Grant Fink can even come back and win his job, that's going to be the big question mark. Let's talk, though, about Penn State before we get even further into Sanford's big question marks going into next week. Dan Duncan, the quarterback for the Nittany Lions, having a very, very good year. 16 and 4 touchdown interception ratio. He's averaging 258 yards per game. He has been a definite threat at the quarterback position. And you'll never guess, this guy's athletic too. He can run with that football. And we've seen how big of an issue that is for Sanford. And I'll tell you now, folks, after seeing some of the tape of this guy, that's probably the deadliest thing. That's the thing I'm scared about most, is him running. He does have a big receiver, though, to throw to, junior John Simmons, 6'2", 222. And he has been a pretty reliable target. 4 touchdown receptions so far this season. He's got a total of 302 yards so far through the season, averaging about 60 a game. He's really the top guy when you look at the receiving core. I don't know if he's the top weapon, though, on offense. I think that goes to the tight end, Elliott Galloway, 6'3", 244. He only has 175 yards on 5 receptions. But 2 of those receptions are touchdowns, and this guy is big, strong, and can catch the football. He's got everything you want in a dominant tight end, so you can't really kind of go away from him to worry about the other receivers. That's why, in my opinion, he's the top weapon Penn State has on offense. As for their defense, they do have a very, very good defensive line. At left end, they have Cole Stone, 6'2", 257, the redshirt senior. No sacks on the year right now. He has forced a fumble, though, and has a handful of tackles to go with that. Expect Stone to be a lot tougher of a guy to block than some of the ends that this line has taken on before. On the other side of that defensive line, Landon Joseph, 6'2", 281, the redshirt senior. A little more deadly in the sack department than Stone. He's got 3.5 right now in the year. A number of tackles as well, and he's also deflected 1 pass, so he might just get those hands up. And a middle linebacker, Larry Tremblay. He's a sophomore, so he's not really, quite established yet, but he has had a very good start to it. He's had a very good year so far. 2 sacks, a number of tackles, a good amount too from just a sophomore middle linebacker. He's got 2 passes deflected. This dude can play very well in the middle. And in that secondary, the guy to watch on this defense, I'd say, is Eric Ware, number 22. He's got 1.5 sacks, an interception, and 9 passes deflected. That, in my opinion, is the key right there. As for Sanford, we've talked plenty about it already. Jason Bravado is the story. He's thrown 5 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions in his 3 starts so far. If he can keep that up, there's an argument to be made that maybe they shouldn't go back to Graham Fink. There's an argument to be made. I'm not saying it's a clear cut, yes, keep him in the starting lineup, but there is an argument to be made. Dwayne Jones-Carter, the running back who has taken over the lead back spot because of the Chad Collins injury, he didn't have the greatest game last week, not by any means. He's rushed for 295 so far this season, 3 touchdowns on his own. It's going to be interesting to see how they use Dwayne and how the offense changes for his skill set. On the defensive side, this defense has played some of their best football as of late. Jason Hamilton, the right end, started off extremely hot, but has kind of cooled off as of late. Only has 4 sacks so far in the season, but that has tied his career high. Along with Hamilton, you've got defensive tackle senior Kewadwo Akampong. He's got 4 sacks on the year as well. Expect him to really just be that guy to get some pressure inside. He may not be the guy who's constantly getting inside and getting to the quarterback, but he is going to force the quarterback to move, and that's going to allow for Williams and Hamilton to pick up kind of the scraps of it. And, of course, let's talk about middle linebacker Kyle Ravato, Jason's brother, who had a huge game last week. Of course, nearly taking a pick back to the house, and we almost saw both Ravatos score last week. It was fun to see Ravato play as well as he did in Michigan. Hopefully he can ride off of that momentum this week. And at cornerback, Keith Darby. It's been a weird year for Darby. He's gotten attacked a good amount this year, and really he hasn't played, I think, as well as a lot of people thought he would. Now, he is shutting down some number ones. We'll see how he does against Simmons this week, but it's been a very up and down year for Keith Darby. Player to watch for Sanford this week is Chris Burley, the big speedster. He's had a very good year, 305 and 3 touchdowns. He's averaging 50 a game, and I expect that to continue for him to maybe even make that jump this weekend. Sanford's got a big opportunity in front of them. They first, though, have to beat the Nittany Lions. We'll see if they can get the job done this weekend. We will see you folks then. Hello, Sanford. You are watching the Coyotes Football Network. I'm Jonathan West, and it is time to hashtag defend the den one more time. I mean, it's a big fight field, not only this week, but next week, as your Sanford College Coyotes take on Penn State and Ohio State, respectively. Now, it's a big situation for Sanford. They've got to kind of win these next two games to almost guarantee, I'd say, a Big Ten championship opportunity. They won last year, and they got that Big Ten title. We'll see if they can repeat, but first they got to take out the Nittany Lions, who are always a tough team to take on, especially when former Sanford defensive coordinator Mark Riley is over on the other sideline being the defensive coordinator for Penn State. The Coyotes are ready to go to hype everybody up before the Ohio State game next week. Coyotes, Nittany Lions, up next. And we are off here. Adam Carr getting us underway. And it looks like, yes indeed, Penn State's just going to take a knee. As the Coyotes rocking their silver hats, black tops for this one. Maybe showing a little bit of the beat 'em ups is Dan Duncan off the bat just taking off. And he's pushed out of bounds by Jackson Payne. But picks up 12 and a first down here for the Nittany Lions. New set of downs here for Penn State out of the shotgun. They'll go option again. So immediately two rushes for Duncan. And he carries Jason Hamilton up for another first down. A gain of 13 as really Penn State starting off on the best foot possible. Man in motion is Elliott Galloway as Duncan looks to throw. He'll connect with Galloway. There's the tight end and he'll pick up 14 and another first down. 3 plays, 3 first downs for Penn State. First and 10, still in the shotgun. They go now to Willie Johnson, the running back, and that's going to be a gain of 10. He'll pick up a first down. The first downs just continue, and this defense, I think, is really stunned by it. First and 10 out of the gun. They go right back to Willie Johnson, and this time they're not getting a first down. Kyle Ravato brings him down, and he'll get just back to the line. Second and 10 now. Shotgun formation for the Nittany Lions. They now go to Curtis Martin. No, not to be confused with the former Jets running back, but 15 yards on that rush, and it's another Nittany Lions first down. They're down near the 10-yard line now as they go option. Duncan fights through one would-be tackle, but brought down by Tyrone Justice. Only going to be a gain of 2 on that one. Second and 8. It's an empty set, and Galloway is the target. 9-yard touchdown completion. And Penn State strikes first and strikes quick. We do have an update for you, folks. Wisconsin just barely edges out Iowa. 38-37, the Badgers over the Hawkeyes in Big Ten play. There was more Big Ten play going on today as 38-31, Northwestern upsets Minnesota. And the Wildcats get their second win of the year. Back here to Sanford now. We've got a kickoff as Dwayne Jones-Carter back to return. He was upset about not getting to return as much last weekend. Look at the blocks in front of him to the 50, 40. You're not going to catch him. And you've got to be kidding me. Laundry thrown onto the field, folks. This one's coming back as it's going to be a clipping call on freshman tight end Doug Burke. That is a disappointing situation there. That was an easy touchdown. Now Sanford has to go on offense, but Chase Earnhardt taking off. He's got Bubba in front of him and just following him up to the 15, a 52-yard rush. That's one way to make us forget about the clipping call, I'll say that much. but Chase Earnhardt with a great run here, showing off the Jets, and good blocking by not only the receivers and tight ends, but the offensive line. First and 10 here at the gun. It's a handoff to DJC, and he'll take it, and he'll find a first down. An 11-yard rush and a new set of downs for Sanford. They're now down at the 3 here. First and goal from about the 3. Rivado to throw. And he's intercepted. That was intended for Peterson, but Williams picks it off. And just when it looked like Sanford was going to do exactly what Penn State just did, an interception just cuts all the momentum out from under them. Well, it's first and 10 now for Penn State as they lead 7-0. Dan Duncan off play action. Galloway can't hang on, and it's nearly intercepted off the tip. Second and 10 here. Man in motion is Galloway, the tight end. Duncan takes the snap. He's trying to run, but he's caught. That's Tevin Williams. He had 2 sacks last week, and now he picks up his 3rd in 2 weeks. So a big sack here is going to set up a 3rd and very long for the Nittany Lions offense. It's an empty set here on 3rd and 14. Is Dan Duncan going to be asked to do a lot here? Over the middle and nearly intercepted by Rivado. Just think if Rivado had gotten his 2nd pick. First and 10 now for Sanford as they have great field position here. But a big hit on DJC behind the line. That'll be a loss of 2 by Graham Williams, who had the interception on the last drive. Second and 12, and the pistol set is in, and there goes Connor Matthews. But he can only pick up 2 off the option, brought down by Penn. Third and 10, and Rivado's in the shotgun. They're in their tight set, and Rivado looks to throw. He'll connect with Burley, and he's fighting for more. Down at around the 20-yard line, it's a 32-yard pickup. And the most impressive part of that whole play is the fight of Chris Burley to pick up probably an extra, I'd say about 10 yards. Great play there. As Sanford now back in the red zone, it's first and 10. Rivado setting up a screen here for DJC as he won't pick up anything. He'll actually lose 2 on that screen. And this is not exactly the way you want to start things off for DJC one bit. He had 1 nice run, but now he's just losing yards on these last 2 plays. Second and 12. Handoff goes to Earnhardt, and he'll go right up the gut and take a shot. But he'll get back up and pick up 10. So a manageable 3rd and 2 here as Rivado looks to throw. He'll go to DJC, and that'll be a pickup of 7. A new set of downs down at around the 6. Well, the Sanford offense has been operating on this drive as Burley, the man in motion. They go to the end around, but Burley's tripped up. I believe he might have tripped up on Rivado taking that handoff. It's a loss of 3, and Joseph's going to get credit for it. Second and goal, shotgun formation. Rivado goes option. He spins away from 1 man, but brought down quickly. They'll mark him actually at a loss. Larry Tremblay, the man who brought him down. So that will take us to the end of the first. It's 7-0, the Nittany Lions on top of Sanford. But they are right at scoring range. We'll see what happens when we come back. Welcome back, everyone, to the Coyotes Football Network. I'm Jonathan West, and it's the start of the second quarter in an empty set, and Rivado is down. Sacked by Cole Stone. Stone's first of the year. And that is big. No touchdown for Sanford. They're going to have to settle for an Adam Carr field goal. As the kick is up and good. Sanford at least cuts into the Penn State lead. And they do get on the board, but the Nittany Lions still lead. First and 10 now for Penn State as Duncan connects with Harris. 18-yard connection in between Wolf and Baker. As that sets up a new set of downs out of an empty set. The pressure was coming, but he does connect with Simmons. So Duncan to Simmons picks up 13. First and 10, shotgun formation. Duncan going off the option again, but he can't fight through Kyle Ravano. It'll only be a gain of 2. Second and 8 now. Shotgun formation. Duncan to throw. He's going to take off again. Avoids all the defenders there for Sanford up front and picks up 13. A big first down for the Nittany Lions as their offense continues to move. It's a new set of downs and Duncan connects with Simmons. 16 more yards as everything is going Penn State's way. They'll go back to the option on first down, and Duncan will pick up another positive gain, this one of 5. He's got 43 yards on just 7 rushes. Second and 5. Shotgun formation. Man in motion is Williams. He'll be in the backfield. They'll fake the handoff. Pitch goes to Willie Johnson, and he is brought down at about the 1.5 yard line. Either way, it's first and goal here in the shotgun formation. Duncan fakes the handoff and takes it himself, but he's dropped at about the 2. So a loss of 1 there as that entire defense knew they needed to focus on Duncan. Second and goal. Duncan hands off to Johnson and he spins his way in. Touchdown Penn State as they've now upped their lead to 2 possessions. This is the last thing Sanford wanted. They're now going to have to claw back in this one to try and get a chance, but their offense has to drive first. Travado looking to throw early. He'll roll out here, throws on the run and can't connect with his intended target. Believe that was Doug Burke. Second and 10 after the failed rollout. Pitch now goes out to DJC and he's got room. Tries to juke out one man, can't do so. It is, though, a pickup of 12 and a new set of downs. First and 10, I formation here. Ravado, play action. And he'll just lob this one over to Connor Matthews, and the former quarterback picks up 6 on that reception. Second and 4, Ravado under center. DJC behind him, and he hands off to Dwayne Jones-Carter, but he can't pick up much. Only a gain of 2 on that one. Third and 2, and they're in the shotgun. Handoff goes to DJC. He'll go up the gut, and he weaves through defenders. 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown Sanford. And with that, it's a 1-possession game, and DJC just showed how deadly he truly can be. Just weaves away from defenders and takes that straight to the house. His speed cannot be denied. Well, first and 10 here for Penn State is now they have to answer the Sanford touchdown. Willie Johnson gets the handoff, and he'll pick up 8 on that run. It's second and 2 now as it's going to be Duncan in the shotgun once again. They'll go to the option, but guess who was there? Kyle Ravado. Wasn't faked at all. He takes him down for a loss of 3. Dan Duncan can't fool the middle linebacker. Third and 5 here. Big chance for Sanford to get a stop as Duncan sets up the screen. Johnson can't get it. He's brought down just short. That was Adam Woods, the senior outside linebacker. 4th and 1, and they got a punt. This punt will go to Dwayne Jones-Carter. He's looking for a nice return here. Gets his blocks. And he's going to have a good one here up to about the 49. It's a 26-yard return. First and 10 here from nearly the 50. Chase Earnhardt on the screen fights through one would-be tackler, but goes down for a loss of 5. Nothing doing there. As that is going to put them in a tough spot now on second down, with, of course, about a minute and a half left to go. Second and 15, Ravato to throw to the sideline. He connects with Burley. He's kept in bounds, but either way, a big first down there. First and 10 in the pistol. It's a triple option. Matthews pitches it to Dwayne Jones-Carter. He can only pick up 5. But either way, it's a positive. A second and 5. Ravato tries to connect with Brandon King. Can't do so. That one was maybe even just a little too low for him. Third and 5. Ravato goes play action. He's going deep. Burley's alone. Touchdown Burley as he somehow keeps the feet in bounds. What a play. Chris Burley. An amazing snag, and the arm of Ravato once again on display. Look at this grab again on the replay. An amazing play gives Sanford the lead, and now for the first time today, Penn State's playing from behind as Duncan takes it for a gain of 9. 17 seconds remain here in the half. What does Penn State want to do? Duncan to throw, he pump fakes, connects with Williams. It's not going to be a huge gain, only 6 as it picks up a first down. First and 10, still in their shotgun formation are the Nittany Lions. Duncan setting up a screen for Willie Johnson, and he's got it. And he'll pick up nearly enough for the first, but that'll only leave 5 seconds left. They're going to have to go Hail Mary if they want to try for points. Duncan. That looks like what they're doing downfield, and nearly intercepted off the hands of Ulrich Ellison, the freshman free safety. That'll take us to halftime as Sanford on top after a late touchdown, 17-14. Welcome back, everyone, to the Coyotes Football Network. I'm Jonathan West, and the second half is underway as Zachariah Eberdeen gets taken down after a gain of 3. Hand off now to Chase Earnhardt on second down. He'll slice through the defense for a gain of 12 and a new set of downs. The rushing attack has seemed to work today as they go back to it here on first down. It was a draw for DJC. Can't find much, though. Only a gain of 1. But both running backs have found some amount of room, and it has really worked to their advantage. Ravato to throw. He's trying to roll out, but brought down by Cole Stone the second time today. And that's going to be a big loss of 9 yards there. And that's going to put them in a huge 3rd and 17 situation. Now, I don't know exactly what Coach Wolf has dialed up in the playbook for this, but we'll see what his plan is. They go draw here to DJC. He's not going to pick up all of it. He'll pick up 8, and that will set up a punt. First and 10 now for Penn State after they were successful in getting Sanford to punt on their first drive of the half. They go to the ground with Willie Johnson, and he can only pick up 2. Second and 8, now it's an empty set. Dan Duncan all on his lonesome there. As over the middle he connects with Williams, and that's a new set of downs. An 11-yard reception, and now into Coyote territory. First and 10, Williams, the man in motion. He's now in the backfield, and they'll go option, but good by Duncan. A loss of 4 as Adam Woods wasn't fooled. The linebackers have been all over Dan Duncan on these options. They have not been faked out. Second and 14, Duncan goes back to the option. Payne got tricked, and Duncan's going to pick up 11 for his troubles. Defense chants are loud and proud here in the den. 3rd and 3. Duncan taken off, but he's tripped up as he tried to change his position there. Guy Hurd with the tackle. And on 4th down, the Nittany Lions stay out there. Duncan tries to pitch it, but down goes Johnson. Adam Woods on the hit. And that is a turnover on downs. I believe it was Guy Hurd who slowed down Johnson. 1st and 10 now with some good field position for Sanford. They start on the ground with DJC, and he'll pick up 5. Over 100 on the day for Dwayne Jones-Carter. 2nd and 5, Burke the man in motion. They'll hand off to Earnhardt, who checks in, and he'll speed around the edge. Picks up the 1st and a bit more as he kept fighting. A gain of 9. So it's a new set of downs, and they're in their I form here. Bravado goes to DJC, and he's got room to run with it. And he'll find enough as he fights for the 10. That's 10 yards and a new set of downs. 1st and 10 still in their I form. Now they're going to go play action. Bravado going downfield, connects with Bubba. Brandon King picks up 35, and I think they should have given him the touchdown, but they mark him down at the 1. So the play fake works, and Bravado's arm once again on display as he connects with Brandon King. And on 1st and goal, they go to their Wildcat formation. DJC takes it and nobody noticed. Touchdown Sanford. DJC with the rush. They did the opposite of what they did last week off the Wildcat, and it worked perfectly. 1st and 10 now for Penn State as 21 unanswered by Sanford. 1st and 10 here now. As Duncan changing things, he's looking to throw here. Connects with Harris, and Anthony Harris is able to move the 6 into Coyotes territory. It's an 18-yard reception. 1st and 10 once again, still in their shotgun formation. They've stayed in that all game long as Duncan going to take off with it, and he fights head first for the 1st down. It's a gain of 11. 1st and 10, shotgun formation. Duncan pitches off to Willie Johnson. He's tripped up, though he can't find much. It'll be a gain of 4. 2nd and 6, shotgun formation. Duncan looking to throw. He tries to run, but brought down. Tevin Williams. Sack number 2 on the day. Williams, the man who got there first and really brought Duncan down. As that'll take us to the end of the 3rd quarter. It's right now all Sanford College. 24-14, the Coyotes on top. Welcome back, everyone, to the Coyotes Football Network. I'm Jonathan West, and the final quarter of play is underway. Sanford on top, 24-14, as a screen for Willie Johnson, though will pick up the 1st down. And this is opening up Penn State now to get a chance to score. 1st and 10, just inside the red zone. Out of the shotgun, they go to the option, but Guy Hurd has seen it one too many times today. A loss of 2 there as Hurd was all over Dan Duncan. 2nd and 12, Duncan takes the snap. Looking to throw. And he'll just throw that one out of bounds, as that'll bring up 3rd and 12 now. This is a big chance for Sanford. Empty set here. Defense chants are loud. Duncan connects with Williams, but he is well short of the marker. I would assume they bring out the place kicker. No. They are keeping the offense out on 4th and 6. Duncan connects with Harris, but Jackson Payne is right there. Turnover on downs. Sanford forcing another turnover on downs. That one just floated way too long as Jackson Penn was given time to get there. 1st and 10 now for Sanford as they look to kill some clock as well as put more points on the board. Only a gain of 1 though there on the run for Dwayne Jones-Carter. 2nd and 9, Matthews looking to take off here off the option, and that's going to be a 4-yard rush. So 3rd and 6 coming up here. Out of the shotgun, what do? They go to the bread and butter, and it's Chris Burley, whose good day continues. 23 yards on that catch, and that'll take him over 100 on the day. 1st and 10 handoff. Here goes to Earnhardt as he's brought down, though. A loss of 2. He took a big shoulder there from Alex Payne. So we see this again. Payne just like a lawn dart going into him. 2nd and 12. Handoff goes to Earnhardt. But once again, he's bottled up. A loss of 1 on this one. Maybe about half a yard, actually. But it sets up 3rd and 12 as they go into the empty set. Ravado connects with Adam Jones. The Iron Man can't pick up all of it. He'll pick up about 6. That forces a Sanford punt, and the Nittany Lions still have life. As Duncan connects with Hemphill. That's a 3-yard gain, as that'll bring up 2nd and 7. They're going to need to score on this drive if Penn State wants a chance as he connects with Curtis Martin on this completion. It's a gain of 6, but just short of the marker. 3rd and 1, defense chants are loud, and Duncan's in the empty set. He's looking to run, but he is brought down. That's a sack, and they're going to give it to Jason Hamilton. Hamilton really kind of forcing a double team there for a second. And once the double team had to break, he was able to get through and get to Duncan as he ran forward. 4th and 2, and this essentially could be the ball game here, folks. Handoff, no, it's the option, and Duncan's got room. He's brought down by Keith Darby. 1st down for Penn State as their offense now continues. 1st and 10, Duncan to throw. And it's taken away. Wesley Wolf really came out of nowhere there. What a pick by Wolf. And that right there will seal this game away. He was covering one man and just jumps in front of that one. 2 defenders ready for an interception. Wolf got it, and that seals the game away, folks. Your player of the game is given to Dwayne Jones-Carter for his 138 on the ground and 2 touchdowns. I argue you could have gone Chris Burley as well for a phenomenal game off his 4 catches. But what another nice win to see. We saw an early interception there from Ravado, but he was able to settle down afterwards and play great football. Sanford now has 1 test in front of them and a number of questions going into that game. Ohio State's going to be tough, and really Coach Wolf has to pick the best guy for the job. We'll see exactly what the plan is, as we'll see you folks next week for arguably the biggest game of the season. It's 24-14 once again, your final here from Sanford, but now we're on to Ohio State next week.